All right, excellent. We'll give everyone just a moment to pile into the room here before we get started. All right, excellent. Hello and welcome to our virtual seminar, Scalable Coaching Through AI. This seminar is brought to you by Rain Group, a global sales training and performance improvement firm that helps companies unleash the sales potential of their teams. I'm Katie, your host. Before we get started, we have a few housekeeping notes. First, you can type any questions into the Q&A pod. We'll answer a handful of these questions at the end of the seminar. Second, we do have a discussion planned early in this session, so keep an eye out and share your thoughts in the chat when prompted. And lastly, we are recording this event. You'll receive an email by the end of the week with links to watch this recording. Now, to introduce our speaker, Andy Springer. Andy Springer is the Chief Client Officer at Rain Group and is a recognized authority on high-performance sales. Since 2020, Andy has led Rain Group's global delivery team, driving measurable results from the clients worldwide, and over the past 10 years has spearheaded some of Rain Group's most impactful programs, delivering outcomes for hundreds of thousands of participants across some of the world's most iconic brands. Andy is the perfect fit for today's topic as he now leads our global product strategy, pioneering the future of AI-enabled learning. Fun facts, Andy's based in Sydney. He's co-founded 2 successful consultancies. He's a passionate follower of high-performance sailing, think SailGP and the America's Cup, and is the proud dad of 3 teenagers and a lively 6-year-old. Take it away, Andy.
Thank you very much, Katie. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world. It is good to see a lot of familiar names and some brand new ones in our attendee list today. For those of you who I haven't met, very glad to meet your acquaintance. I hope you get some value in our time over the next 40 to 50 minutes. For those of you who I have, strap in, hold on, and enjoy the ride, as I say. So I would really like to begin by not talking, and I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the chat, how do you reinforce skills after training? What are you doing at the moment? Let me hear from you so I get a good feel in terms of what's happening in training reinforcement for those of us who have chosen to invest time together today. So if we can just get some responses in there. Let me get that up. All right. So thank you very much. So thank you, Michael. So coaching, training on the job. Robert's saying more partner training, less sales training. So focusing on partners, less on sales training. Thanks, Nancy. Coaching again. So lots of coaching. Good morning, Yvonne. Very early for you. Remain treats. Okay, treats. All right, so we've got application-based coaching, so lots of coaching. We've got a couple of note takers that are sharing some ideas with us. Thank you, Scott. Have goals that match what you're expecting and reinforcing in the learning. So setting goals that are aligned to the learning outcomes, critically important. Lots of you are doing coaching to drive application of learning. Jose's talking about attending sales calls with sales reps. That's a great one. So observing what our sellers are doing in order to apply the training in which they have been given. So lots of coaching. We've got some in-field observations. We've got setting goals that align to the learning and outcomes. That's great. Okay. Thank you very much for everyone's input. Let's take that and move on. It's a good base for us to start with. All right, so let's have a look at the state of sales coaching as we know it today. For those of you joining us for the first time, Rain Group is a research-based sales development organization. We have been around for more than 2 decades, and we do not just come to a point of view and go, this is what we think, therefore it is. We do deep study into the world of selling and buying, particularly in the world of complex selling and complex buying. And we study both buyer behavior and seller behavior in order to realize a position of what is going on in market, what is working, what is not, what are buyers wanting, and how do we help sellers consistently meet the evolving needs of buyers. So we have a view, and we have certainly been in field over the last many months, researching, observing, and understanding what's happening in this world as it relates to AI and sales development. So let's have a look at what we're seeing. So if you think in terms of learning being adopted, you think a manager thinks their team's pretty good, win rates are lagging, and reps aren't improving fast enough. They've just had their sales kickoff. However, a number of deals in the pipeline for the product are below expectation. But often what we see is exactly that last point. When we go in and ask the manager and we work with the manager, what is going on? Put your finger on the issue. Tell us what the problem is so we can begin together to solve it. Managers can't always tell us what is going on. I don't know. Could it be the way in which they're showing up? Could it be that we're over-indexing on relationship build? We're under-indexing on it. We're not capable, or we're not competent, I should say, in terms of understanding our product or service offering. We don't really understand what value looks like. We might understand what value looks like, but we're not good at progressing sales opportunities through the funnel, and we have a deal velocity issue. All of these things are the daily world of sales managers and sales leaders across the world, because it's really difficult without data to pinpoint what is actually going on. And if I'm going to invest in my team in order to improve sales performance, where is the best investment of those precious dollars? You can't fix what you don't know if you don't know what's broken. And so the impact of enablement initiatives is not always clear, right? So in a recent HighSpot, so for those of you who know HighSpot, their state of sales training report this year stated 55% of organizations struggle with sales training or coaching. And then it's not just training, it's the embedment of that training in order to realize the improved sales performance that we all desire. And in order to do that, we need reinforcement. And when managers can't always speak in terms of understanding how sellers are applying that training, and managers may not have insight into what the issues are in regards to improving sales performance consistently, then we have a question in terms of, am I getting the desired ROI from the training investment that we've made? What we do know that embedding training adoption, particularly of new learning and applying that in role, come down to the strength of post-training coaching. So great to see a lot of you already are drinking the Kool-Aid, as they say, in terms of that. But sales coaching, from our observation, from our research, and from many of the data points that we see across the world in terms of sales performance improvement, sales coaching is inconsistent. It's too resource heavy to scale. It's often one of the first things that a busy sales manager will put aside in terms of other tactical priorities to try and fill gaps in their immediate sales pipeline in order to close out a month, close out a quarter, or recover from their current position. And so coaching often gets put to the side. It devolves often into deal reviews instead of application of skill and driving sales performance improvement. Managers and the demand on managers' time, I can tell you in the last 5 years, has just skyrocketed. And they don't have the time, and in a lot of cases, a lot of managers don't have the awareness to create personalized coaching plans. We often see them at a team level. We often see grouped capability gaps, but we certainly and rarely see them at an individual seller level. And sellers behave differently when they're observed, and managers frequently introduce their own bias into that coaching. So we have a range of different issues going on in regards to the state of sales coaching today. But we do know that the number one driver of effective sales training is regular mentoring and coaching. And we, for those of you who have known us and worked with us for a while, we strongly encourage it. But we do face those challenges that I spoke about a little earlier. Our research shows that top performers get coaching right, but they only make up just short of 19% in terms of the overall sales manager cohort that we study and work with. So top performers are 51% more likely to have regular and ongoing coaching, and they are 40% more likely to be skilled at leading valuable coaching meetings. So there is real value with that problem set that we have of looking at AI to provide meaningful solutions to help solve those problems. And when we went about looking at devising and crafting our AI solution that we're bringing to market, we started with the problem. We didn't look at the technical capabilities. We did not look at what we thought might be nice and what was good. We looked at what is the problem that we need to solve in market to leverage AI to bring real value to solve real problems at scale. So let's have a look at the value of AI in sales, and let's have a look at what we're finding in the market. And we've got a combination, because this is such a fast-moving part of the market. We've got a combination of both our research and a collection of the most recent research that we're going to share with you in order to help provide that view. We have added quite a bit of text on these slides, and the reason why we have in this case is not to drown you in text data on slides. It's because when we provide a copy of this to you, you've actually got a little bit more written word to be able to reference back to. So I hope that helps you. I'm not going to read straight from the screen or try and avoid it where I can, but just letting you know that's how we design this. So for those of you who are attending, you're going to get more value from that. So firms that are adopting AI personalized learning have seen 42% reduction in training time and a 40% increase in productivity. Now that's very early research and it's very promising signs. Now, do I like the fact that there's a 42% reduction in training time? Not necessarily. However, if we're spending less time training and we're spending more time applying that training, then that's a huge win to help us get to an outcome of or closer to sales performance improvement. If you look at enablement, when we find that it's consistent, in particular, it's unbiased, and then it can be on demand for whenever a seller or a sales manager need it, and then to be able to do that at scale, AI very much helps be able to solve that problem and deliver to it. Training is worthless without application. Nothing changes until something changes. And so whilst we might have a mindset shift, we might have more knowledgeable sellers and sales leaders walking out of training. If it ends there, it's as good as not doing it, right? I've met plenty of knowledgeable people who have a lot of knowledge and do nothing with it, right? So we have to take knowledge and we have to convert it in a practical way. And then for a lot of us on this call, we then need to scale it across very large sales organizations. AI is already here. If you are not adopting it, if you are not across it, if this is one of the first forays you've taken into investigating AI, welcome to you again. I know a lot of you have already started dabbling. What we're seeing in market is a huge volume of our clients and those that we're speaking with who may be future clients are investigating. They're very much in the investigation phase. What we're also seeing is a lot of sellers are not waiting for their organization to try and help them improve their selling skills to drive their own individual performance improvement. They're getting out there and looking at individual AI solutions. They're adopting them themselves, some of which may be similar to what I'm going to share with you a bit later. We're seeing the best managers orientate themselves out of data, out of computers, out of systems, and focus on their people much more. And that's where we see the real transition of value that sales leaders are going to be making in this AI-driven world. They are going to become people-orientated coaches and value drivers much more effectively than they have previously. And that is very much a skill area that a lot of successful sales managers are focusing on today. It's not just about AI. For those of you who will argue with me until you're blue in the face that it's going to replace it, if you have order taking sellers, If you have knowledge sharing sellers, yes, they are going to replace those sellers. Why? Because buyers can get their information in terms of knowledge and be able to place orders very quickly, leveraging technology, and AI will enable and assist that much more effectively in the future. But if you've got value driving sellers, if you've got sellers who are going to really challenge the thinking, help bring insight and real value to conversations, and they're going to help through that value transition their buyers from a current state of where they are to the new reality in which they desire, those sellers are going to be here for a very long time. And they're going to leverage AI really effectively. So the equation is human and AI in the selling world, not just AI, unless you let it. And so if we think in terms of it, robots aren't replacing managers, they're just creating new possibilities. So overcoming coaching capacity and capability challenges that I spoke about earlier, particularly for frontline sales managers, coaching in the moment of need. Sellers can get what they need right before important conversations, and then empowering sellers to own their own development and request that help in specific areas is what is unlocking those new possibilities. So if we think in terms of roles, what is the coach's role versus what is AI's role in this new reality that we are coming into? Coaches, it's about executing smart use cases of AI. We can tailor learning experiences now down to the individual level, and we can deploy them at scale leveraging AI. We weren't able to do that in the most cost-effective way previously. We are very much able to do that. We are very quickly able to align that capability development to strategy, and we're able to solve problems at that individual level. And so that is the role in terms of coaches moving into the future, is how do we leverage AI to get outcomes at an individual seller development level, at a team level, and then for those of you who manage large-scale sales organizations, by doing that, create meaningful performance improvement at an organizational level. So the AI helps provide that scalability, bridge the application gap, and also enables that on-demand learning aspect of what we are talking about. Organizations are already adopting AI to fill their enablement and development needs. As we know, particularly those of you who are joining us from a sales enablement perspective, budgets are always tight. The need to develop, grow, and improve sales performance is omnipresent, and it never goes away. Even when we are successful, the ask often in the next financial year, the next calendar year, when we've received budgets is, all right, sellers, we need you to go and be even more successful next year. So even in the top performing selling organizations, it's never about sitting still or just repeating what we've done. The ask is always, how do we grow? How do we develop? And so smart organizations, as I said, are already looking at how we leverage AI, particularly in sales development, in order to be able to realize that outcome. For those organizations that perhaps we would say is less performing or up and coming, they are very much looking at, well, if we have even less budget, how do we leverage AI in a most effective way in order to fill bigger gaps to drive improved sales performance? So companies using AI sales training tools, 49% more qualified leads, 30% reduction in sales cycle time. 30%, that is quite amazing in terms of the early indicators of where we're seeing a range of different improvements. A Fortune 500 firm using AI role-play simulator, 35% improvement just in the area of objection handling. And in a global sales team, adding real-time feedback during sales calls drove 28% improvement in customer satisfaction and 15% boost in average deal size. So AI bridges the training and application gap. For those of you who aren't convinced, hopefully just being able to spend that bit of time walking through that, you've seen a strong case as to why AI will help solve some of those problems that you may be facing in terms of scalability, personalized learning paths, bringing new insight in terms of to sellers and their development, but also value and identifying insight we can bring to our buyers. It's on demand, it's flexible, and ultimately it seeks to assist us in achieving our goal of sustained behavioral change that improves sales performance. All right, let's have a look at the poll. We've got a poll coming up now. Katie's going to pop that up. Does your sales team use AI yet? Let's just get a quick yes, no. Let me gauge that so I can curate the delivery of this next part of the message, understanding where we're at. So if everyone can just give us a quick yes, no on the screen, that would be great. Does your sales team use AI yet? I will just wet the larynx for our next part. Okay, I am going to give you another, let's just say another 10 seconds before we close that out. Does your sales team use AI yet? Yes, no. All right, Katie, let's see what the survey says. Survey says, ooh, wow, so it's nearly 50-50, right? So we've got some who are either in exploration, have not yet adopted, and then we've got about half who have or are seeing their sales team use AI in various forms. Now, that might be large language models, Copilot, ChatGPT. It may be leveraging it in simulated role plays. It may be leveraging it in a whole range of different ways, proposal reviews, proposal building. We see it, there's hundreds of use cases in terms of it. But all right, so it's about a 50-50, all right? We also know a lot of organizations have not defined their data and privacy strategies as it relates to AI yet and are sitting on the fence in terms of making commitment around that. So it's not always that we don't want to use AI, it's that there may be other things precluding us from being able to use it within our organization. So it's not certainly, that response doesn't talk necessarily to the intent, because I know a lot of people want to use it, but in some cases are unable to. All right, let's look at strategy for AI adoption. And we're going to look at, first of all, building a custom solution. So this is where I'm going to share with you a few insights in terms of what we're seeing. In a little bit later, I'm going to show you some simulations. And what we've seen, particularly in I guess the 6-month research phase that we went through, looking at all the various different AI solutions in market, what we saw was there was a huge degree of what would we say, hallucination in terms of how AI would simulate a sales conversation or a seller coaching conversation. And what we found was that there is a lot of generic, publicly available information, and in some cases, no specific engineering programming provided to AI bots to simulate as close to real life conversations that a seller or a sales manager might be having. AI cannot be built on a whim. You need to think in terms of a machine, and that's what AI is. It's the evolution of machine learning. If the machine is only working off very limited data, it is only going to pass through that data in order to provide you with an outcome, no matter how good your prompting is, no matter how good your questions are. If you put rubbish into it or you give it little, it will give you either rubbish or it will give you very little. And so when you're thinking about AI and use cases and how it might help drive and assist your sellers in improving their sales performance, it's all about what you put into it. It's all about how you engineer it. So a lot of us think, I was just talking to one of my colleagues the other day, and they said, I was talking to one of our clients and they said they really need help with AI. And she said to the client, why do you need help with AI? And she said, my AI is broken. And she said, oh, why do you think it's broken? And she said, because it never gives me the answers that I seek. Now, that may be funny to a lot of you, but it's not uncommon, right? A lot of people think and have a warped or ill-informed view in terms of what AI is and what it can do. You think assistant at the moment, and by the way, AI as a whole is learning. And if you think in terms of models and how the models are being engineered and educated and developed, they will very much become smarter and be able to give and be able to do a lot more very quickly over the coming years. But now A lot of us are at our infancy. A lot of us would use a Copilot or ChatGPT. We'll put inputs in and you'll get quite generic responses. It'll help, but it will get you 70 or 80% there. To get to 95 or 99% accuracy in terms of output, it needs to be engineered, it needs to be fed, it needs to be given all of the necessary information to keep honing those responses to get as finite an outcome for you as possible. There's no difference in terms of that thinking when it comes to developing sellers and developing our sales managers. So it's got to be tailored. Do not let anyone suck you in or sell you a solution that says, yes, this works for all selling organizations. No, unless bot engineering or AI engineering is a component of that solution to be able to tailor it to your organization. Don't let anyone fool you into thinking that you don't need to develop your people. We'll just do everything through AI and sellers will respond and engage brilliantly. We've seen that is a flawed hypothesis. It does not work. Sellers do love typically a range of varied interaction and different modalities in terms of how they learn, develop, and grow. High tech and high touch is the thinking in terms of development. AI will not be a wholesale replacement for seller development. In other fields and in other forms of training, yes, it can be. In seller, we have very clear evidence to say it won't be. We have not just a defined hypothesis, we now have a proven hypothesis given the tens of thousands of AI-based development situation simulations that we've deployed across various organizations over the last 6 months, particularly with our new partner company or our new owners of our company, the Alchemist Group, who are pioneering and have been done so AI development for quite some time. The big reward for you in leveraging AI is metrics, data, and the opportunity to take accountability to that next level. So any AI solution needs to be coupled with how are we capturing the data, how are we leveraging the reporting of that data, and once we have that, how are we going to use that to drive accountability to make sure we're seeing application of learning at an individual team and across an organization. And we see that 67% of decision makers report that organizations will increase their generative AI investment in the coming years. So I don't think we need to be fooled in terms of where this is all going. It's about changing behavior, as we said. And so what we've seen evolve is where it would be down to training and then coaching the application of learning and all the necessary problems we open with that are associated with that. We now have an opportunity to redefine the behavior change loop. So now we can train, we can simulate, we can have sellers go and take that information, or sales managers take that information from those simulations in real time, be able to apply those changes, repeat those simulations on demand really quickly to demonstrate improvement in terms of skill, and then be able to adjust and do so time and time again in their own way, at their own pace, or that pace and that cadence can be defined at an org level by sales enablement or those in charge of developing sellers and sales managers. Then when we combine simulated learning, on-demand simulated learning with manager coaching, we're seeing a significant shift in improved outcomes. And now we're able to align measurement of outcome to development because of that data. And what that data enables us to do, and I'll show you a little bit later in the demonstration how that is. So role play is really powerful, right? Role play is really powerful. It's risk-free. You get real-time feedback, and you can apply learning instantly, and you can measure it. So it ticks a lot of boxes in terms of what we've been wanting to do in the sales development space for a long time, and now we have the ability to be able to do it. We want to create simulated environments that are without judgment, that don't drive performance anxiety like live role-playing often does. You'll see if we go role-play or if we go simulation in training, we hear, oh, because sellers are going to be put in a situation where they feel judged, that performance anxiety lifts. And then often the response is, yeah, well, that scenario isn't really as close to what or it's not the same as how I sell or the people I sell to, and buyers don't necessarily respond that way. So you get persona indifference, you get scenario challenge, which often lessens the effectiveness of that. And we spend a lot of time, if we do live role plays like we do now with AI and creating AI engineered bots, to get those personas and buying scenarios like explicitly right. And we can get them down now to a individual seller level in a particular product category type, selling to a particular industry type, and particular buyer role type. And we can do that at scale, which is quite amazing. So it's very rare now a seller turns around and goes, yeah, that isn't real. In fact, what we hear is the exact opposite. It's like, wow, that's almost too real. That's almost exactly what happens in my conversations. And so if you are going to drive engagement in this type of AI-enabled learning, you need to spend time engineering it to as close as what I just explained as possible. Why? Because when you do, sellers really like it. They get the immediate value from it. They keep coming back and using it. And in one of our clients at scale with 2,000 sellers, they have a 98% engagement rate in their AI-enabled simulated learning environment. 98%. And it blows my mind to think why? Because of how well engineered the bots are. They are built so well, the sellers love practicing with them. That's where you need to get to. Real-time feedback. So sellers see the consequences. Imagine going in and investing 20 minutes of time I didn't think I had as a seller and get instant, specific, individually tailored coaching feedback on the spot. You get instant reward. So anyone that from the tech space, you'll understand user behavior and UX design and interface. What we're looking to do is we're looking to engage users. We're looking for them to behave in a certain way to realize an outcome for not just them, but usually a commercial outcome at the same time. What we know is sellers love instant reward. So if they invest time, which, as I said, they'll often tell you they don't have, to go and do a 20-minute simulated role play, but they get instant reward. They can look at that at an individual level. They can go, here's how I can fix it. Here's how I can go and apply that. And here's how it's going to help me individually improve my sales performance. You can connect the dots. It's why we're seeing that this style of learning has tremendous upside benefit, but most importantly, we're seeing engagement levels that we haven't seen in other reinforcement activities for a very long time. So it's all about applying the learning as well and bridging that gap as quickly as we possibly can. Here's actually a quote from that company I just mentioned in terms of those 2,000 sellers. One of our senior sales enablement leaders initially said, hey, this AI simulated learning, it's not for me. He thought it would be contrived, and he said, well, my manager's asked me to do it, so I guess I best give it a go, but I don't really want to do it. So I kind of attended engaged as a prisoner. He was only there because he told he had to be. But did his first run, looked at the report card straight away, so looked at the outcomes, the coaching outcomes, and it caught him off guard. He realized he missed key areas he thought he'd covered. Interesting, huh? We have our own cognitive bias in terms of what we think we've done versus what we've actually done. And that's why in previous history, we've said one of the best ways to see what your sellers are doing is actually go and watch them do it live. We haven't always had that chance. So simply because he was caught up in the flow of the conversation. The moment of self-reflection, without judgment from a manager telling them you did or you didn't do something, or having a peer come and tell them, and that peer and that, the engagement, the level of status of that relationship and with that peer wasn't a factor, that was the breakthrough moment. And it really made the tool stand out. So everything I just said before is validated in terms of what that senior leader is saying. So you want to make an AI role play solution that matches your industry and your sales methodology, or in simple case, it's not going to deliver the results that you need. All right. You want to see it in action, don't you? Well, I have decided for the sake of technology success that I've taken some recorded examples of two of the solutions. So what I'm going to show you right now is I'm going to play a recorded call of a seller engaging in a conversation simulation with an engineered AI bot, right? And I want you to look at the conversation type. You'll see there's an organic nature to it. There's things that the seller would be asking and inputting into the conversation that the AI bot couldn't know unless it was really well engineered. And look at the conversational nature of this seller role play simulation. So this is a seller engaging in a conversation with a prospective buyer. The prospective buyer is Kevin Morris, who is the CFO at Brightpath Consulting. We made that up. So hopefully if Kevin Morris is on the call and you happen to be from a company from Brightpath, it was a very big coincidence. But here's one of our sellers engaging in that AI conversation role play. When we come back, we are going to then showcase a sales manager practicing a coaching call with one of their sellers. And so we're going to show you both use case examples that hopefully will be effective or will be of value to those who are attending the call. So let's have a look. Hopefully my audio is working. Katie, ping me if there's any technical issues. Let's listen to Ed and Kevin.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Hey, Kevin, I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All good on my end. So, what's on your mind today?
Actually, right now, hockey. I just got out of the rink. We just went to go see the Devils game.
Ah, hockey, nice. I'm more of a Bruins guy, being in Boston and all, but I can appreciate a good Devils game. Who were they up against?
They're playing the Rangers.
Ah, Rangers. That's always a heated matchup. Should be a good one. All right, so what's the plan for this call? I've got a tight schedule today.
Now I hear that, and thank you for chatting today. I know you're the CFO over there at Brightpath, and you're super busy. We help companies like yours get a better handle on their costs and profits. My goal today is just to learn a bit about how things work for you right now and see if there's a good fit for what we do. Does that sound okay?
Sure, that's fine, but let's keep it focused. I don't have time for a fishing expedition. What specifically do you want to know?
Well, I've actually done some homework with your peers. I know that you use systems like Dynamics, Excel, Asana. How do you usually pull all that info together from those systems around project costs and profits in order to be able to see how the business is really doing?
We mostly rely on Excel. My team exports data from Dynamics and Asana, cleans it up, and then builds out the reports manually. It's time consuming, but it works well enough for now. Why?
Well, I was actually wondering if you could have things exactly how you want them. Would you change it, make it less manual, more automated? Like, what would it look like for Brightpath to see all your project costs and profits in real time instantly without having to take the time and manual effort to do so?
In an ideal world, sure, less manual effort would be nice, but the reality is, I need accuracy and control over the numbers. Automation is great in theory, but it often comes with its own set of headaches, data integrity issues, integration problems, and so on. So unless it's foolproof and doesn't disrupt what we're doing, I'm not convinced it's worth the trade-off.
So why don't we schedule some time with some of your colleagues and some of my tech folks, and we can actually do a 1 hour diagnostic and show you exactly how we would deploy it and how it would work in your system and create the efficiencies that we're talking about. Would you be open to that?
I'm not committing to anything just yet. Diagnostics sound nice, but I've heard that pitch before. What's the actual lift on my end? How much time is this going to take for my team? And what's the guarantee that it'll show me something I don't already know?
It's an hour tops, and if we can't surface $100,000 in hidden costs, walk away. No commitment, no disruption.
$100,000, huh? That's a bold claim. What's the catch? And how exactly are you calculating that? Because I'm not interested in vague benchmarks or inflated promises.
No, no catch. I'll actually share with you a case study on what we did with another similar client to you in your space, in parallel to scheduling that time. That way you see the value and you can kind of show the ROI to your stakeholders as the case for getting them to join the meeting. Would that work?
Send over the case study and I'll take a look. But let me be clear, if it's not directly relevant to a company our size with our setup and doesn't show tangible ROI, I'm not wasting my team's time. You've got one shot to make this worth it.
Understood. Appreciate the shot and opportunity, Kevin. I'll send it right over and we'll schedule some time.
Okay, so that gives you a snapshot. By the way, we truncated that and just took some highlights from that recorded call to give you a taste in terms of what it is, how it reacts, the response time, and all of those. How the AI was responding was purely based on how the AI bot was engineered, and in that case, it was engineered to provide that degree of introspection, those type of challenge responses. But you can also, I mean, you can engineer it in whatever way you want to make sure it meets the development outcomes that you're looking for. So that, as I said, is a taste. In terms of it, that was an example of our audio-based sales AI role play. Now we are going to have a look at a sales leader. In this case, for those of you who know our wonderful Jason, he is playing the role of a sales manager, practicing how he would coach one of his sellers. So this is a sales coaching role play. Once again, it's a shortened example of a longer recorded call, but I hope you enjoy having a look at this example. I will get the click right. Here we go.
So this is a recording of a AI role play with Jamie Lopez, and I'm going to play the role of sales manager.
Hello, is everything all right?
Hey, Jamie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Just got off a really promising call with a client. How about you?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. The month is generally shaping up. Hey, I know this is our scheduled regular one-on-one, and I really want to dig in today into pipeline a little bit more. As you know, you missed your number last month, and I really want to support you to make sure that you achieve target this month. How does that sound?
I guess I could do that. It's just that I'm always rushing between calls and meetings. Maybe I need to block some time specifically for updates. What exactly are you not seeing that concerns you?
So first of all, that's a great suggestion. Is that something that you can definitely commit to doing moving forward, Jamie?
Yeah, I can commit to that. Friday afternoons might work well when things slow down a bit. But what specific gaps are you seeing in my pipeline that have you concerned?
Yeah, well, at the moment, based on what I'm seeing, your coverage is less than 1 against your target. And we know that we operate pretty much on a 33% conversion rate here. And so, usually in order for you to almost guarantee your number, you need 3 times coverage. At the moment, for this quarter or this period, I'm only seeing Gentech and Virtual Labs, which combined are 175, and your number is 550. So I'm wondering maybe what you know that I don't know that's not in CRM.
Oh, I see what you mean now. Yeah, those numbers don't look great when you put it that way. I actually have several deals that aren't logged yet. Ironbridge Manufacturing is looking at about $110,000. They're basically at verbal commitment stage. And Millstone Equipco is around $95,000. I just had lunch with their team last week, and procurement is reviewing our pricing.
Any others that you've got that are for this period?
There's also Dynatec at about $105,000. We ran a demo last week that went really well. They just need one final technical validation before switching to us. I really feel good about all 3 of these deals closing this period.
Okay, well then that will get you to kind of around 300, a little over 300. Are Gentech and Virtual Labs still realistic possibilities for this period?
I think so. Gentech has been a bit slow with responses lately. It's been about 2 weeks since our last interaction. Virtual Labs is still engaged, but moving cautiously. I should probably follow up with both of them this week to get a clearer picture of timing.
Yeah. Is there any help or support you need on either of those deals? Is there anything you think that we or the organization could do to get them to move a little bit quicker or to increase the sense of urgency around getting the deal done?
That's a good question. For Gentech, I might need some help from product development to address some technical questions they've raised. And with Virtual Labs, having you join a call might add some executive presence. They seem to respond well to that. I appreciate you offering to help.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And then the recurring kind of calendar block for keeping CRM up to date. So that, again, we can identify stalled deals, slowed deals, and then, you know, potentially we could be more proactive in leaning in and helping you.
Okay, so we get the idea in terms of that. So think in terms of use case here. So you've just invested or deployed a large scale sales development program to sellers, and you want to test application of learning for the conversation elements, and you don't want your sellers testing them out live in field with buyers or prospects. Adding a series of AI role play simulations to that learning sequence is going to give you that answer. You're going to be able to see what did they take from the training, how is that coming to life in terms of these practice scenarios, and then we're able to engineer how we measure effectiveness of learning application by how they simulate that learning. So if you think in terms of use case, you can integrate simulated learning within the learning sequence, post the learning sequence, and in a forever sequence, as we call it. We've got clients who are looking at engineering that and providing different bot scenarios and different simulated challenges every 3 months as part of seller ongoing development. Imagine for those of you in sales enablement, or those of you sales leaders who are joining us on the call, you've just invested a significant portion of time you didn't have, and you have been developed in terms of improving your sales coaching skill, yet you are once again going to be forced to practice that skill in a live environment with your team. That's not necessarily as effective as being able to come out or within the learning sequence, be able to learn those coaching skills and apply them in a simulated environment that is judgment-free, that is there to help you, and be able to see, how am I going on this? What am I doing, and how am I coaching in a way that perhaps I didn't realize I was, that needs improving? Or what should I be doing that I'm not? And you get immediate coaching feedback in terms of how you become a better coach with your sales team. So there's a range of different applications in terms of that, and I'm just going to showcase for you in a sec. I'm going to give you a look in terms of what does effective scorecard. It hasn't come up, but I will see if I can get you that link. I'm just going to show it to you now. So some of you are going to say, okay, Andy, what does that scorecard look like? And what it looks like is what I'm about to share on the screen. I'm just having a little bit of a technical challenge, but that will be overcome shortly. All right, Katie, let me know if we get this on screen now. I'm going to share live. Okay. So we complete our conversation, and then we go, well, how did I do in terms of that? And that is the actual simulation. I'm going to go to my development, and I look at my development. So if we think in terms of, right, I'm a seller, I've just invested time in simulated role play. How did I do, and how am I progressing? So I can come out and I can go straight away, right, how was my opening? What happened in the discovery element of that call? Which were the areas that I should have targeted that perhaps I didn't? How well am I going? What's my overall improvement across the series of simulated role plays that I've done across the various areas? Diagnose, differentiate. How do I handle objections across various different, we can look at it from a financial perspective. We can look at it from a product or service offering perspective. This scorecard and the AI bot can be engineered to any specific area, way, product line, type of conversation, type of industry that you could imagine. As I said, we can get it down to an individual seller level. We can do it at a team level. We can do it at an org level, depending on how you want to engineer it. And then the most important thing is, how are you going to score it? So the AI bot engineering is as important as the scorecard engineering in terms of how you're going to measure it, in order to see the specific application of skill and development that you are looking for. And it's all then shared with both the learner, and then rolled up into group dashboards at both a team level for the sales manager and at an organization level for sales enablement or senior leaders. So this is the immediate feedback that I get in terms of investing the time. I get a heat map over time that builds in terms of my first attempts versus my best attempts. How am I scoring? What's the consistency gap? Am I improving in terms of that? And then I can revisit and relook at all of the various calls that I have had and what my scores were, and get a sense in terms of my improvement. So I can see my performance, I can see my improvement, and I can also see my efficiency. And by the way, this is one example that we're showcasing in terms of a scorecard. This can be engineered for any conversation type, whether it be negotiation, whether it be discovery, whether it be prospecting, any conversation type that you're thinking of can apply to this. So let me head back to the deck. Hope you enjoyed having a quick view of that. You should have my Elevate Sales Enablement slide on your screen right now. So in summary, we can tailor and target learning development and measure it at an individual team and organizational level now by leveraging AI effectively. Sellers can practice, sales managers can practice the skills that have been taught, and they can do it instantly as part of the learning process or in an ongoing enablement environment post that, with all those benefits we spoke about earlier. AI tools are always on, right? So sellers who are time poor, sales managers who are time poor can access, practice, and develop at the time that they want, rather than having to turn up at a specific time and be able to engage in learning, which we know can be disastrous when we've got huge volumes of learners that we're trying to engage and turn up at the same time. As I said, it's the engineering with AI that will be the secret to your success. And some of you, and I've just seen a couple of private notes, thank you to the three of you who just sent that. You've almost sent me the same note, which is that is your big aha. That was your big learning from this in terms of bot engineering, scorecard engineering. Hopefully that's been of value to you. This is a journey. It is something that you do not come into, learn a part of how you might use AI and then set and forget. For those of you who are engaging with this world changes every single day. And so we constantly have our finger on the pulse in terms of understanding where the technology is going, how we are going to apply it, and making sure it aligns to value to solve real problems in the sales development world. Please make sure that when you're considering how you're going to use AI in your learning journeys, that your focus on AI is always on, or you're partnered with organizations who can make sure they have their finger on the pulse for you and the development of your sales teams. I'm going to take a quick breather, and Katie, over to you. What, if any, questions do we have on notice? I've seen a few in the background. As I said, people have reached out to me. I'll answer some of those personally after the call's finished. But what have we got generally that we might be able to help with?
All right, Andy. So once you take 2 breaths and a sip of water, does this reshape the role of a sales coach? As I see, this would mean my role is about to dramatically change.
Yeah. So I want you to think assistant, right? So I want you to think in terms of what is the human value? What is the AI assisted value? What can AI do to help me, my sales managers or my sellers close gaps and improve their performance better, faster, stronger in terms of the areas that they need help in? Don't think in terms of replacement, right? And this is why I talk to our team here, and talk to audiences around the world. The minute you start thinking replacement, you're not thinking value, and you're thinking concern, you're thinking fear, you're thinking lack and limitation instead of growth and abundance in a sustainable way. So what are the gaps, and how do I get AI assisting me to be a more effective leader, to be a more effective coach, to coach more regularly? Or perhaps it may be, hey, look, I'm really time poor. I can only coach once a month with each of my sellers. Well, what I'd be thinking about there is, how can I leverage AI to give coaching support to my sales team at a much more regular frequency, so that when I connect with them, I have data that I can target coaching at an individual level much more effectively if I've only got one shot once a month with each of my sellers. So it's about thinking differently in terms of it. Think of AI as an assistant to close gaps and be able to help you bring more value to your sellers, to your buyers, to your prospects more effectively than you do right now.
Excellent. And our next question is a big one, but I'm going to summarize it for you. This is a big undertaking. How do we get AI into our trading?
Yeah, it is a big undertaking. The way you do it is one step at a time. And so, you want to partner with AI-enabled organizations, suppliers, vendors who can take you and partner with you on a journey to make this and ensure it's not overwhelming. What I see in a lot of cases and a lot of experiences that clients are reflecting that they're having in their vendor search and selection at the moment is they feel a sense of overwhelm. They feel a sense of, I don't really understand this, and now I'm being told I have to use it. And then I'm engaging with people who say, you should just know about this and be able to go and take what we built and go and apply it in your world. That's not value, right? We're moving at such a pace. We cannot expect the market to be subject matter experts in this instantly. And so, as I said, you need to look at partners who can take you one step at a time on this journey to be able to do that. And that's what I've learned. And that's what we and how we're engineering our processes to be able to support our clients is let's not bombard them. Let's not overwhelm them. Let's go, what is the first use case? How do we set it up? How do we demonstrate it? And how do we clearly articulate the process, the steps and the requirements that each of us have in order to be able to get to that outcome? And let's not be in a rush to fail, right? You can rush at stuff, you get it wrong, it's as good as not doing it. So very much choose your partners wisely and make sure that they are there to support you, educate you as part of the value offering that they bring to you on your AI journey.
Excellent. And our last question, do you have any tips on how to ensure the AI bot is set up so that the conversation seems realistic?
Yeah. That is very much the world that we live in. There's a whole process that if that person wants to reach out, we can walk you through how you would do that, because as I call it, bot engineering is how you get from generic hallucinated responses that any bot is going to give you if you don't engineer it to that outcome that we want, which is the seller comes out of that conversation, the sales manager comes out of that conversation, goes, wow, that was exactly what happens in my conversations. That's exactly the buyer type that I engage with. That's exactly how prospects respond when they speak to me. Or, when I coach my sellers, that is as close to real in terms of the most challenging seller I have and how difficult they are to coach. And I felt I made real gains in terms of practicing that conversation for that coaching session I'm having with them next week. So yeah, it's bot engineering. And it's the process that you undertake to engineer the bot that gives you the magic, as we call it, versus the generic responses.
Excellent. That's all our questions we have time for today, Andy. So go right ahead.
That is brilliant. I just wanted to, and I probably should have put this slide up to answer some of those questions, but I'll leave that slide up in terms of what we are defining as conversational AI and what we do in terms of our solution offering. I know that you would know from what I've shared with you, we know what we're doing in this space. We're constant learners and students of this space, and we're bringing world-class solutions that are genuinely solving problems that we know a lot of our clients have, not just saying, hey, we have AI capability. So all of that is on your screen right now, and I think it summarizes a lot of what I've shared with you today. Thank you, everyone, and back to you, Katie.
Thank you so much for your insight, Andy. That concludes our seminar for today. Just as a reminder, we did record this event, and you'll receive an email by the end of this week with links to watch the recording. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. Have an excellent rest of your day.